All right. Uh, Almost ready. Ten seconds. Whenever you're ready, Joe. Oops.
Excuse me. Hello there. I was just finishing up here. I got a little bit of tedious work to do. Good evening and welcome to the After Hours show. My name's Joe in Norway. I'll be your cook for this evening. I'm joined by Ann Lee, a retired college professor and a community member at the Daily Coast. They're a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. Evening, Ann.
Hey, Joe. What's for supper?
We've already had supper, so I guess we need to work on dessert. I'm getting some gooseberries
Okay.
on. And I hope that Anna appreciates all of the time and patience I've put in tailing and heading each of the little gooseberries. So you got the flower that you need to snip off and the branch at the back. Oh my goodness. Oh, so tedious. Oh my goodness. Technically, you don't have to do this, but if we're going for a maximum aesthetic look, we might want to do that. So,
Joe,
anyways,
have you seen gooseberries with stickers all over them, thorns all over them?
yeah, we've got. You mean the fruit or
Yeah,
the
the
branches?
fruit itself is just covered with like quarter-inch little spikes. You can't really eat them. You can make jam out of
No.
them.
Okay,
But
no, I haven't seen that. These
yeah,
these have thorns, the branches.
I see.
Uh,
Cool. Thank you.
mm.
That looks great.
Yeah,
Yum.
so James might not appreciate the next time, but we're running severely low on gooseberry cake, so I think we need this is the finished version since this evening's dish will take longer than the show will be on.
Okay.
Because just purely because of all of the detail about laying each individual berry, it's going to take forever as well. Oh Lord, gotta.
Labor intensive. Labor intensive.
So what I thought I would do is we've got Bestemore's uppskriften här. This is my mother-in-law's apple cake. So we've got the traditional Norwegian apple cake recipe here that I've kind of modified to make it vegetarian and swapping gooseberries for apples. And I've also um injected some coarse ground semolina to give it a little bit more heft and body, and it has a nice mouthfeel. So we're going to be using linseed, crushed linseeds to replace the egg, but in combination with the coarse semolina, you get a little bit of porridgey consistency, so that helps with covering for the missing egg. And we've got a little bit of cinnamon, vanilla, some soya milk, some plant margarine, baking powder, and then a little sugar, just a touch of sugar. But you do need some sugar because these babies are so tart. My goodness, so tart. But before I get baking, I thought I might mention I was surprised to hear two other states this week. How would you say, were they threatening to acknowledge Palestine's existence and bequeathing statehood on it? Australia and and uh, and New Zealand are about to do some purely meaningless motion, too little, too late.
Well,
But
there are 150 countries now that acknowledge Palestine's existence. So,
well, we're leaving all of the white Anglo-Saxon ones to the end. But who am I to speak? I'm sitting here in the state of Norway, where the land of peace, and too many peace medals for
the
so
land of
many
Nobel Prizes.
Nobel Prizes for too many war criminals. Uh, the last couple weeks, Norway's been having a little bit of kerfuffle in the news media regarding the oil wealth fund.
Hmm.
So I thought I might talk a little bit about that. There's where was it? Norway's wealth fund divests from 11 out of 61 or 65. I'm not exactly sure the total number. So they invest in at least 61 to 65 companies, and they finally agreed to withdraw from 11 of those. As of last year, the fund had shares in 65 Israeli companies worth about 2 billion
Hmm.
US. The fund said that the sale of the stakes was in response to the extraordinary circumstances in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. Other investments in Israeli companies are under review,
Hmm.
the fund said. Um, this is a little bit more on Albanese. Norway's position on Palestine ep- epitomizes, I didn't say that correctly, did I?
Epitomizes.
Epitomizes. That looks funny. The contradiction of our times. Albanese said on social media on Saturday, despite her alerts about the fund's investments and its potential liability in violations of international law, she said, so far, financial considerations and interests seem to have prevailed over full compliance with international law and ethical commitments. If not Norway, who? If not now, when? She said.
Yeah.
There's one particular company. Um, the fund has a 1.2% stake in Israeli Next Vision stabilized systems. It's equivalent of 184 million Norwegian, which is about 18 million US.
Hmm.
The company produces cameras used in drones. Among the customers are the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. Confirmed founder and chairman Chen Golan in an interview with the Israeli newspaper in 2023. There, he told of an increased activity after the outbreak of the war. The the war in Gaza clearly increased demand, he said.
Yeah.
Uh, that increase was about 603%, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wars do that.
630. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, but it's a start. 11 out of 65. We've got some work still to do.
Yeah.
All of the left parties are pressuring the government. Um, Hopefully, we'll get more on board.
It's a
So,
difficult process. You can't do it all at
mhm,
once.
mhm,
It's it's part of who's in power and contracts and
mhm,
all kinds of crap. Um, yes, well,
mhm.
BDS, uh, all those things. Been a tough week. I put up something on what's his name, Krasnov, who's or not Krasnov, I mean Lavrov, the Minister for Foreign Affairs for Russia. He decided, and he does this period. It's not the first time he's done this. It's sort of obnoxious, actually, but he decided that he would wear a sweater that said CCCP, which refers to the USSR. He decided when he landed in Anchorage, Alaska yesterday that he wore that shirt. And of course,
It's cold up there.
well, it signifies something that he cares a lot about, even though he's an oligarch. The Soviet Union and its imperial claims.
Mm.
Today, they both showed up on time, and they got red carpet treatment, so to speak. Trump, or alias Krasnov, and Putin. And so, they were all smiles and blah, blah, blah. And they've been meeting for a bit. They arrived at about 11:30 or so Eastern time in the morning. And I guess they've been doing stuff today. I haven't seen any readouts yet for what they're doing. We'll see. It's a lot of photo ops when you get right down to it. They made a big deal out of riding in the same limo, that is the Beast, so-called the Beast, the armored Cadillac limousine that President of the United States uses. So Trump and Putin are in that darn thing, and I keep thinking, I hope they really sweep that thing well for hidden microphones and stuff. I'm sure he's brought it. It's what I do. I mean, you just see if you could slip a microphone in there. A passive surveillance. Anyway, so they had about 10 minutes to actually talk to each other, and that's sort of interesting. And whether the two Secret Service guys driving the darn thing got a piece of that will be sort of interesting to ultimately find out someday. But anyway, so there's a lot of blather, all kinds of blather. The point of even doing this was that 2 days ago, Trump suggested that he would give away mineral rights in Alaska to Russia to incentivize them coming to the table and getting engaged in a ceasefire. It's already operating from a position of weakness. The fact that Putin is in Alaska, he gets a lot out of this. He gets the so-called hegemonic equivalents of being a superpower again, because Russia is no longer a superpower, but he gets that image because he's there with the Krasnov, the idiot. So that's all part of this little game here. Frankly, the Russians have not changed their position. It's the same. They just want Ukraine to capitulate. So essentially, all that anyone gets out of this is a ceasefire. Trump's trying to give away not only Alaskan or U.S. resources, but there was some news reporting that suggested that he was going to give away some of the things, the rare earth metals and other such rights that he'd already negotiated from the Ukrainians. So essentially, this is the ultimate in, sort of racketeering, is that he was signing away stuff that the Ukrainians didn't want signed away at all. So there was that, and some other issues of recognition, and he started the week off talking about land swaps, which is what is a pretty pathetic sense of because the second they even buy into that, they've essentially lost. The Ukrainians have lost the argument, because the whole point of being invaded is that your land has been violated, and the only way that you can win after being invaded is to kick the invader out. So that's kind of where we are now. Zelensky's not there in Anchorage, Alaska, and Trump's, he's sort of weasel. It said, well, maybe we'll get Zelensky to show up or something, or some other thing. It was pretty much taco time, right? Trump always chickens out. He tends to always say, well, this is not the real meeting. The next meeting is the real meeting. So, there a lot of, bullpucky, let's say, has been thrown about. And, there's a huge Air Force base right outside of Anchorage, Alaska. And so that's where they landed today. It had all the typical layouts, Trump likes showing off the American military might. So the red carpet was flanked by 4 F-22s, which is the fifth generation fighter. And it's sort of interesting. It's all bad comparisons, because the press doesn't quite know what to do with it. The fact that chances are the jet that it's a Tu-154, I think, that Putin came in on, was probably accompanied or escorted by two, though they were claiming that they were being escorted by two of the Su-57s, which are the Russian version of a fifth generation stealth fighter. But some people have been pointing out that it's a pretty bad version of it. There's only 11 that actually operate, and that it's very poorly constructed. You can even, somebody pointed out, well, you can see the raised bolts on the wings and stuff, which doesn't help the stealthiness at all. Needless to say, there was a comparison made between the Su-57s and the F-22s, of which the United States not having 11, but rather 101 or 20 or something. So there's a big difference between the two. And anyway, so there was these little minor things to look at, aside from, the usual PR stuff that comes out of the Trump administration. I think we'll get a sense of the readout, and there'll be undoubtedly a press conference of some kind. And WAGs have been pointing out this is the first time they've had one since Trump at Helsinki, which was total disaster. Where Trump said that he believed Putin more than he believed his own intelligence people, like the CIA. So it's sort of interesting to see all that. Essentially Trump has been, it's still all about Epstein. Essentially, the Russians have compromised. Trump is sucking up to them and offering all kinds of things that he really can't or shouldn't be offering, like mineral resources, American mineral resources, in order to get his peace prize. You see, he could get a peace prize, maybe, if he could actually end the damn war rather than claiming he's ending the war, claiming that he's already ended, in the space of 7 months, 6 international conflicts. Well, when you look at the real history of it, and I hope that from a Norwegian point of view, that the committee is going, this guy is putting in martial law in his own nation. Why the hell should we give him a peace? so I hopefully the reality will set in. But needless to say, that's what's happening on the Alaska front. There were demonstrations of people got out and showed their. There were very probably none. Didn't appear as if there was much reporting about it. Pro-Russian demonstrations. It was mainly pro-Ukrainian demonstrations in Anchorage, Alaska. And so that was interesting. People, it's nice and sunny and warm up there, so far as Alaska is warm. And so people were out demonstrating, and that was a good thing, interesting thing as a comparison. It was a big problem. I mean, it has been a big problem because this whole business of having this little summit came so quickly that foreign journalists have to they don't get hotel rooms. They have a little cubicle somewhere with a cot. It's pretty ugly. Mainly because it's tourist season and all, you can't get hotel rooms and stuff. So all that kind of stuff's going on. I mean, I assume that Anchorage is the Anchorage economy is doing well relative to having all this stuff go on. So that's that. At the beginning of the week, the federal government seized control of the District of Columbia police force. Now, there's a little clause, it's the home rule clause, et cetera, that allows the federal government to come in and just simply take it all over. And there are other contingencies are built into it. And you could technically, it only should last a couple of days. It can last as long as 30 days. So, and they decided to overstep their bounds and suddenly decide that they're not just sort of temporarily doing it, but rather the Pam Bondi decided to install the head of the DEA as the new head of, whatever, police in the District of Columbia, which I think is illegal. It's you can't do it. But and so legal minds are at work now. So lawfare continues. They're running out of people to grab, so they've been doing they've been ordered. That is DHS and the more particularly in the case of DC, the National Guard, and in LA, other things are happening, but in DC anyway, they've been having traffic stops, checkpoints, right? And it's all about PR anyway. So where do they go? Well, they went to Georgetown to stop people. Apparently, a couple of people got arrested, but pretty much, and they towed away one car. I think that was the extent of their stupidity. But needless to say, folks got out in the street and tried to just, put up signs and said, ICE is ahead, so to speak. In the so anyway, that kind of silliness has been happening. But yes, it is like martial law. And of course, the claim is that this is a test case for going into major American cities, which is much more complicated to do it. The only reason why they're doing it, in fact, is because you have this federal relationship with the District of Columbia, which wouldn't be there if the District of Columbia became a state. So there's that. People in District of Columbia have been clamoring for this for decades now. And
martial law?
No, statehood.
Whoa, I was confused. Well, I assume that the martial law is getting instituted because of the extreme jump in crime, correct?
Oh yeah, crime is down 26% and more in DC. So the contradictions are just amazing. Trump has spent a lot of energy trying to convince people that his base anyway, because they're innumerate anyway, that the numbers don't make any difference, or that they're lying, or it's fake news, or blah blah blah. But the fact is, the data is probably pretty good. There was a lot of crime in DC during COVID or just after COVID, but the reality is that crime has been going down for 30 years. For 30 years. Now, this is, you've had...
that's across the country, right? Or
no,
is that
no, just in DC.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you go back to, the Heller legislation about owning a gun and blah, 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 some things just don't change. I mean, the perception of cities as hellholes and blah, blah, blah
Mm-hmm.
is all, they're attempting to do that, but it's not quite working. I mean, if you live in a suburb and you're around in the periphery of a center city, you have this automatic, fear of something, and that's always going to be there, regardless. But the fact of the matter is, they're trying to amp that up. It overlaps the kind of resistance that existed in a variety of places, like Texas. The governor or the lieutenant governor, is trying to call in a special session. The Texans do it in a very strange way. In other words, in order to get something done, they don't really want you to be there all the time doing government. You have to call special sessions and stuff like that. And so they tried to do that. And the Democrats, not unlike a couple of other states have done before, the Democrats, because you need a quorum in order to actually conduct business, Democrats fled the state. And they fled, we've talked about this last week, they fled to Illinois and New York and probably a bunch of other places. But they managed to hold out until today, which signals the end of the session. And, the Republicans are embarrassed because the whole point of doing this was to try and do redistricting so that Texas would get 5 more members of the House. And, it's called gerrymandering, and some states do it relatively neutrally. California spent many years trying to get an independent organization to do that work. It does it. I'm not saying it does it in the best way possible, but it is bipartisan and more policy neutral. And so part of this week has been spent with Gavin Newsom, taking on Trump, telling him, saying he's a liar and, et cetera, et cetera. And Trump's understandably annoyed because in California, because they have a better position on how to reapportion districts, they're gonna offset the Texas stuff, because actually they can. They will, in an optimal situation, they will come up with actually more Congress people, despite the kind of monkey business that's going on in Texas. Now, certain other states are thinking of doing that, but it takes a lot of work to reapportion states. I mean, it's just a lot of bureaucracy. It's just it's not easy to do, and it's being done halfway through the decennial census period. So on the one hand, you could sort of justify it in a lot of places. On the other hand, it's pretty clear that the Doge GOP is subverting almost every portion of government, and of course the census, because it's under the Commerce Department, will get subverted as well. So that's happening. Been a busy week, and it's just the strangest thing, where if you just watch the right-wing media outlets, you think America is really in a terrible place. And then if you're just looking at other places, you just see, they're just making stuff up. I mean, actually outright lying, which is what Trump has been doing about, for example, inflation. Claims it doesn't, it didn't go up. Yeah, I mean, it's just outright lying, and it's just weird. And fortunately, certain politicians are willing to say, you're just lying, and it's just, it's a tough deal.
You think journalists would call him on that?
Well, it's difficult. It's about access, right? If you actually challenged him at any second about what garbage was coming out of his mouth, they'd throw you out of the, press corps, whatever, and the fact is, all of this, going to Alaska, it's all the martial law in DC. It's all about Epstein. It's still all about damn Epstein, because, the base, the GOP base got lied to. Trump, actually said stuff, attempted to promise that he was going to, we're going to know all about this, blah, 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 blah. And apparently they really screwed up there. I mean, Bondi says, well, we didn't find anything, and this after everybody knows there's something there. And to say there isn't anything there is just, it's really the height of stupidity, because they tried the same damn thing. And if you've been anyone who's paying attention, the case of Trump stealing government documents to Mar-a-Lago was exactly the same. They just lied at the front end saying, oh, I don't know, I didn't take anything. And clearly there was all kinds of stuff going on. And I think that some portions of the American public are a little tired of this monkey business. And so and fortunately, the media has turned on this, right? The whole business of all this business about pederasts and pedophiles has turned on them, because it's pretty clear that if you're kind of into the right wing, you've got more pedophiles in your little coterie. And I mean, the data shows this. I mean, there's data about this, that there is tendencies for, um, certain religious groups or whatever. They just have a higher frequency of people being indicted or charged and convicted of doing this. There's so few examples of anyone with a moderately progressive, whatever, being arrested, charged. And there was a thing last month. It averaged one a day. Some kind of church person, usually male. There were a couple of women, but it was mainly male, charged or convicted or imprisoned or whatever for the pedophilia. And they were all,
Lord above. I got to get this cake in the oven before the baking powder loses its kick.
Yeah, do it.
How's that look?
Nice. Beautiful.
Nice. Well, at least the more honest members of the right wing have a solution for this problem, lowering the age of consent to 14 or 15.
Yes. Well, that's Alan Dershowitz's op-ed said that,
Simple mathematics.
It's sort of weird. I mean, Dershowitz goes for lowering the age of consent, and well, he's connected to Epstein. Gee.
Surprise.
Oh. Oh my goodness. We got some bulk fermentation going on here.
Excellent.
My sourdough for tomorrow.
Excellent.
Got some folding to do.
Yeah.
While we wait for the cake.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of doughy stuff, Dershowitz managed, and I think he's only doing it to stay in the news. They threw him out of a market, I think last weekend, because there are 3 vendors for pierogies at the farmers market on Martha's Vineyard, and one of them, the guy's Jewish, decided, I'm not going to sell to Alan Dershowitz. And so, Alan Dershowitz, it just sort of indulges in lawfare, essentially, ultimately claiming that this Jewish guy was anti-Semitic, and the cops get called, and you have the right to refuse service. So that essentially happened, and they kicked him out of the little fair there. But he's back again, whatever. He's returned to try and attempt to litigate. He says he's going to sue, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, God, of course.
So, but you see, I think he's a real pariah. I mean, he should just take the hint and vacation elsewhere, because, some people are not nice to him. He goes into a bookstore and somebody yells at him. I can't remember, Larry David or some celebrity yelled at him. All of that's there, and yet, it's still all about Epstein. Epstein is still there. This Russian business is about Epstein. All of this stuff has, is sort of lit up, as they say. But my favorite one comes from, I think it's Monday. This guy, Dunn, this is his last name. I can't remember what his first name is, but Steve, I think. He was confronted by federal, whatever, LEO guys, the guys in camo and vests and stuff. And for some reason, I think he was a little drunk too. It's a white guy, may even be gay. He's got a pink polo shirt and shorts, and he just, he picked up a foot long at, so to speak, at the local Subway store. So he's got this sandwich in his hand. And for some reason, and God knows what it is, the usual, this is worth examining more closely, but he decides to throw his sandwich at a law enforcement officer. And what was the result? It bounced off the guy and he turns and runs away. And so they grab him. And so he's, he gets charged, I guess, and he's there for overnight, and they release him because he just threw a sandwich. And so he goes home. But in the meantime, Janine Pirro, the new DA for, the District of Columbia, decides that she's going to prosecute him as a felony. So just felony sandwich throwing. So they send 20 guys, armed, to the teeth, to go take him back in. And fortunately, he gets arraigned on the federal charge. And the judge says, well, that it's a little excessive throwing a damn sandwich at someone. So anyway, he's going to get a court date, and but we have video of it. There's he hits the guy with the sandwich and runs away. I mean, pretty dangerous stuff. District of Columbia.
Well, have you had a Subway sandwich? They can be pretty hard, and they could cause injury.
Hard roll.
Yep.
Pepperoni spray. I don't know. It the puns write themselves. It's a pretty strange little event that he just throws the sandwich and runs away. I mean, had the guy been a person of color, the results would have probably been different. Let me just say that I'm not being cynical about this. It's pretty obvious it would have been slightly different. So that was this week. Fortunately, we can have a little bit of humor about it, but not much. On other matters, we found out the name, or at least I did anyway, this week, the name of the guy who does all the gold filigree stuff on the interior of the White House. He's the guy who's added gold, leaf or paint or however he's done it to all of the wall stuff, and he's the one responsible for all those.
Gold leaf. That's
it is. I assume that it would be. They anneal it somehow.
Trump would not allow gold paint. It has to be gold. It's got to be gold leaf.
Well, it's interesting that when you look at a photo of him and Ivana at their I guess it's a honeymoon in Leningrad, which Trump referred to St. Petersburg as Leningrad this week.
Still Leningrad, as far as I'm concerned.
If you look at the Winter Palace, it's decorated pretty much like all that crap that is wound up on the walls of, it's white and gold, gold stuff.
And that is what the new ballroom is going to look like.
Yes. It's so tacky. It's so damn tacky. It's so weird to see it. I mean, it could have been much worse, but because there are people who will decorate but Trump is, I don't know. Anyway, so there's that.
Maybe awful.
What other awful things? Pete Hegseth, our esteemed Secretary of Defense, got asked by Laura Ingraham when they first started rolling out the takeover of the police and bringing in the National Guard. She asked Pete Hegseth, well, where all these homeless people are going to go? Because what was it was always a secondary item in the reporting on this, that what they were really doing in terms of taking over the District of Columbia Police is because Trump was annoyed by homeless people having their tents and stuff pitched in various parks, etc., while he was going to the golf course. He saw this and he decided on the weekend that he should do something about it. So that's why this thing happened. So Laura Ingraham on her show asked Pete Hegseth, well, do you know where the homeless people are going to go? And Pete Hegseth answers, because he's in charge of the military, well, that's not really my lane. I don't know. I think that's going to have a little bit, those going to have legs on it. And of course, Hegseth is more interesting, perhaps, because there's been some reporting on Christian nationalists who believe, particularly in Tennessee for some reason, that women shouldn't have to vote, or women shouldn't vote. And votes should be like in colonial days. It's about households. It's about, the man is the head of the household, and the vote's about property and about, he owns everything else in it, right? The wife, the kids, the cows. So essentially there are Christian nationalists who, and there are a variety of sects. So there's one real interesting one, which I'll talk about at some moment in the future. But it's just fascinating to see how weirdly rigid they are. And this one household, one vote thing may catch on somewhere. Although the second it happens, there will be lawsuits. It's just going to tempt lawfare, because unless they can, redo the Constitution, and they're not going to do that. I don't know. There's going to be work on this. On the other hand, there's been discussion this past week of going back and trying to eradicate same-sex marriage. And we all knew that was going to happen after you did Dodd, and blah, blah, blah. It was going to roll back and sort of eradicate gay marriage. So that's sort of simmering in the background. Needless to say, all that's there. Hegseth, the reason why Hegseth became important was that he sort of hemmed and hawed about women not needing to vote. And then he sort of revealed that the head of the church that he happens to go to is one of these crazy guys who actually, I think he was indicted for some quasi hanky-panky of some kind. And but he's he's one of those guys. And it's just very, very fascinating. Anyway, ultimately, it's still Epstein. It's still damn Epstein. Oh, and no, there are more craziness happened this week. There's going to be a UFC fight on July 4th, 2026, for the 250th anniversary of our nation. They're going to have an ultimate fighting, whatever it is, thing, a hexagon or whatever the hell it is,
Octagon.
at the White House. Octagon at the White House.
Yes, but it's okay because they're going to make the octagon red, white, and blue, and they're going to put a big star in the middle of it.
Oh, Christ. It's so weird. I mean, we knew this was going to happen anyway, because Dana White got put on, the head of UFC, got blah, 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 and Trump goes to the UFC events. And, there's a kind of segment of Trumpist MAGA supporters who, for some reason, happen to like mixed martial art fighting.
Maybe Joe Rogan will be the MC for that.
I'm just wondering if are we sure they're using the Project 2025 playbook and not just cribbing from the film Idiocracy?
Well, it's pretty close. I mean, the big balls guy was who suggested it? I think the Speaker of the House suggested that big balls should get a Medal of Freedom for having the ship being beat up at 3 a.m. In Washington, D.C. by two 15-year-olds. So that's how the beginning of the week sort of happened. Eventually, they're probably going to give him a medal. I don't know why. He just had, the crap beat out of him.
They're going to give him a medal for what?
I don't know. They claim that he's heroic. I don't know what's heroic
having
when you get your iPhone stolen.
And for a guy with big balls, we'd like to give you a big medal.
It's so weird.
Our country we're so far down the road to the end of.
I don't know. It's not the end times yet, but it's getting close.
Well, that's not the end times. It's just the end of the end of having any people having any respect for this country. Not that they had it for a while. But
that is one nice cake there, Joe.
Very nice.
Gooseberry semolina cake.
So
you can also use ground almond, give it a little extra flavor if you like.
That's the one you baked before, right?
Yes. That's our cheater cake.
Julia Child, 2 ovens, pull out the other one. That's called the magic of television. Come back from commercial and it's done.
It's done. This is what it looked like. You did it right. Well, we're getting close, and I guess we should talk a little bit about the schedule. Now that I can't remember any of it. John, if you're there, can you tell us a little bit about Night Gallery tonight? John?
Night Gallery. Let's see.
John? I don't know. Well, there's going to be Night Gallery in 30 minutes. Let's put it that way.
He's working on the slide.
He's working, yeah.
Look, by Poker Face.
And I guess we're going to have Poker Face tonight. I hope that would be good if we could have that. I think we have. Now I can't remember what the show is. Susanna, if you're here, can you tell us what's happening?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to present the 1964 Black comedy anti-war classic, screenplay by Patty Chayefsky, The Americanization of Emily, starring James Garner, Julie Andrews, and James Coburn. Thanks.
Good movie. It's a good movie. Looking forward to it. This weekend. Yes.
And you caught me at a very awkward moment.
In the middle of the slide.
Yes, so we are having Night Gallery tonight, 8:30. And the episode tonight is called A Fear of Spiders.
Ooh.
And it stars Patrick O'Neill and Tim Stanley.
Nice.
Last week witches, this week spiders. Oh,
God, that's frightening. Too much
arachnophobia.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to that. Sunday, I guess it's gonna be delayed slightly. Star Trek Next Generation is delayed slightly because of what is it? Struggle Session.
Struggle Session.
Yeah, Struggle Session with Anna Hussein and some very good guests, including our friend Henry Hakamaki from live from Russia.
Friends from the other show.
From the other show, and so we're looking forward to that, which will happen at from 3 to 5, I think, and hence Star Trek Next Generation will be at 5. At 2 o'clock is weekly marks, etc. On both Saturday and Sunday. So on Sunday at 5 p.m. Star Trek Next Generation. John, you want to talk about the episode?
Yes, it is called You Who, and it is a very good episode, actually. IMDb gives it a 9.2,
Whoa,
which is unusual for the first and second season.
indeed.
Yes, no, it's a very important episode in the development of Star Trek. So don't miss that one.
John Delancey.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. Lane is not here, so it's unclear whether I'm sure there will be music after Star Trek Next Generation on Sunday. There are other things that Adnan Hussein is doing. He's got free time, so I think he's doing something else on Monday, and I'm not quite sure what that is, but we will probably carry that as well. For the most part, I've still been doing weekly marks and dis and dat information, and mainly focusing on a variety of things related to theories of surplus value and the Grundrisse of today. So anyway, that's what kind of the things I'm fiddling around with, all in preparation to do volume 3 of Karl Marx's Capital, volume 3. Anyway, so that's kind of what's ahead as far as I can remember. So we did the schedule. I ranted about another weird week. It's the silly season, as they say, and the United States is in the silly season, clearly. Keep track of our stuff. We're going to talk about those things as well. We're about ready to sign off, and I don't have any yummy cake here, so I'm just going to have to live vicariously through Joe. So anyway, we'll try and do better next week.
I'll take that burden on for everybody. It's okay.